Hey, friends! Welcome to the Swing My Heart podcast with your host, Nicole
and Hannah. Come join us for some hopeful conversations about heartfelt entertainment that makes your heart swing.
Hey, Chessies! We are back after a long break. Unfortunately, Hannah was not able to make it today, but I'm joined by my sweet friend, Theresa, to chat about Chesapeake Shores Season 6, Episode 5, Love. A fortune-telling machine shares uncomfortable truths with the O'Brien couples. Mick and Megan struggle with their long-distance relationship. Abby's more comfortable with her new romance. My first question for you, Theresa, is what did you like about this episode?
I liked seeing how all the couples were kind of in a different place, their reactions to the machine. It was kind of like you see where each of them are. Like some of them are just beginning their romance, not comfortable, with the whole the love of your life is standing right beside you message. Some of them are not comfortable with that, and then others it's like, oh, this is the greatest thing. Like Jess and David, they were just like super happy about it. And I just found that very interesting. It's a very interesting concept, and very, very creative too.
I think so too. Do we want to start with Luke and Bree?
Yes. Yeah, I do have some thoughts about Luke and Bree in this episode. I know there was kind of a general Chessies after this episode came out where people were like, oh, are you on Luke's side or are you on Bree's side? And I'm one of those who was on Luke's side because I found Bree to be a little bit unreasonable, but at the same time, I can understand because she does have some trust issues from previous bad relationships that she's been in.
Yes,
so
she does.
So I can understand where she's coming from, but at the same time I probably would have reacted the way Luke did, where he kind of broke things off at the end just because he was like, no, I can't deal with this anymore. But that's kind of how I felt about that whole storyline.
I feel the same. I mean, I've never been in a relationship, so I can't completely understand where Bree is coming from, but I do know that she has trust issues from the past, and I think I'm on Luke's side too. So
yeah, because if you look back at Bree's history, she was with that first guy Martin for what was it, 8 or 9 years, and
I think so.
It was a long time. I do know that, but he's a complete narcissist, not a good person. And a lot of times when you're with someone for that long, that just becomes what your vision is of a relationship. Like, oh, they're gonna do things that break my trust. Like Martin, was not trustworthy, and so she just kind of expected that from Luke. And I think there's this misconception that Luke has a criminal past and that's why she doesn't trust him. I don't think that's true. I think it's more about, she's been in some pretty lousy relationships for a pretty long time, and that's more where it's coming from, where her self-sabotage is kind of coming from, is just from that past experience.
Yes, I agree. I do remember one other relationship. I cannot remember his name for some apparent reason. I do know the actor's name, but I cannot remember.
Is this Simon Atwater?
Simon, yes.
Oh my gosh, I hated Simon so much.
Oliver Rice is the.
See, actor. I love Oliver Rice.
He's great.
I love him. He's great, but I am not a Simon fan at all. I'm pretty adamant about that. Yeah.
He was okay for me.
Yeah. I could not even tell you why I disliked him that much, but Simon and we would not jive well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. like I said, it's not even because he was a particularly bad character. I just, for some reason,
You just didn't like him. Yeah.
He was just not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me. But
that's understandable.
Yeah.
Some characters are like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I can't even explain it. But yeah, I think that Luke is the best guy that Bree has been with.
100%. 100%. Yes, I agree with that.
Because I think Luke, like, and I'm being completely honest right now, like, I think Luke was one of the best characters of season 6. Like,
I think so too.
I really believe that. Like, I think he was one of the, like, highlights of season 6. I absolutely love Luke. So
yes,
I think she could do worse than Luke, for sure. Yeah.
Stephen Huszar plays Luke.
Yeah. Definite heartthrob.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. And he's got a good range.
Yes.
Too, so yeah.
So at the beginning of the episode, Luke finds the fortune teller machine, Mr. Mystic, at the bridge, and later tells Bree it would be a cool addition to the Seaside Festival. I did like this moment, and it is their conversation at the Seaside Festival with the banter about romance and trying out the machine. Of course, she gets the fortune. The love of your life is right before your eyes. And he gets the same one. And I think it's Luke that says, hey, don't blame me. Blame Mr. Mystic.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was funny. He's got a good witty sense of humor, and I appreciate that about him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly, but did this episode, when he finds Mr. Mystic in the bridge, didn't it have kind of like a mystery feel to it, if I remember correctly?
I think so. I haven't watched this one in a while, but yes.
Okay, yeah. I remember seeing it. I'm like, ooh, are we in for a mystery right now?
Yeah.
And then it's like,
I was
Mr.
wondering
Mystic.
that too.
Yeah, yeah. But I feel like it's also like one of the rare moments where they actually use the bridge in this season.
Yeah.
Because they didn't use the bridge a whole lot in this season, but it was nice to get a little callback to that.
Yes,
you know?
it was.
Yeah.
The bridge would be a fun place to go to eat.
It would. Yes.
And see live music.
Yes. Yes, it would.
If only it were a real thing.
Yeah, it would be a really fun place.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Although there were some great music venues here in Charleston, so
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, we actually have a brewery pretty close to where I live, and I don't know if they have live music. They probably do, but it reminds me very much of the bridge. Yeah. So we all have our own version of the bridge somewhere or other. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. They have a lunch date. Now, this lunch date was very awkward.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
He won't admit whether he planted the fortunes on purpose.
Yeah. I remember sitting there and watching this, and I'm just like, come on, guys. Communicate.
Oh my gosh.
Classic miscommunication. Yeah. I remember my sister, she said to me about this episode, she was like, one of my least favorite like tropes is miscommunication.
Oh,
so she's like, no, this was hard to watch for me. Yeah, and
I agree.
I struggle a little bit with it as well, because as an audience member, you're just like, we all know what's going on. It's so.
We also hear in that scene the apartment search is going well and considers possibly moving into the halfway house again.
Yes. And I think it was it's good to get Luke out of that awful like apartment that he was in beforehand with all the flooding and everything. Yeah, so I feel like it's a nice like step for him, because he's been in prison, he's been living in his truck basically. and then this awful apartment. I think it's just a really nice step for him.
Yeah.
Because, it's kind of for the first time he's actually doing something for himself other than just getting by,
Yeah.
Which is nice to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bree has a brief conversation with Jess about how the lunch date went. What did you think of this conversation?
Oh my gosh. At this point, this is when I started to get annoyed with Bree because, people are telling her, communicate. I think you're overthinking this. And this is in this scene, you get a very, visible demonstration of Bree overthinking the situation. And I'm a bit of an overthinker too, and I know a lot of overthinkers.
Yeah.
So I can understand her pattern of thought. But at the same time, it's like, girl, just talk to him.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah.
That she does at the Seaside Festival. She mentions how she maybe came on a little strong and has trust issues. He has trust issues too, but his are with people who don't trust him. Ouch!
Yeah. See, my reaction was less ouch and more like roasted.
Well, I was like half and half, ouch and roasted.
Yeah. That's true, because I know if I were Bree and I was, trying to be clear, it would hurt. But at the same time, as an audience viewer, I was feeling very much the Luke frustration at that point.
Yes, same.
Yeah. But like I said, I can understand where Bree is coming from. But that doesn't mean that I was not annoyed.
Same. Yeah. And that wraps up Luke and Bree. We can move on to Mick and Megan now.
Aha! Yeah. Mick and Megan.
Yes, I love them as a couple. They're really sweet.
They are, yeah.
I'm glad that they worked things out and got back together.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of knew it was going to happen at some point, but when you see how much they've been through in the past seasons and how much the whole thing really affected them, it's just it's huge that they do get back together, at the same time it's going to happen, but seeing it happen is just such a joy, you're rooting for it in all 6 seasons, but when it finally happens, you're just you kind of breathe the sigh of relief. You're like, finally they're moving towards, something good, Yeah.
And before we get into their storyline, I just have to mention, I'm sure all the Chessies know.
Yeah.
About Treat Williams.
Yeah. I was shocked when I heard what had happened. And my whole family who's watched this show, we're all devastated. Including my dad, who is a huge fan of the show. He loves the show, and Mick was his favorite character. So when he heard Treat Williams had passed, he was so devastated.
I was sad too.
Yeah, but Treat was so talented.
Yeah.
And everyone loved him. And all of his cast members loved him. All of the crew members loved him. And I mean, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say he was truly the heart of the show. And he really elevated the show because he was just so talented.
Yeah. Sending love and prayers to all of his family, friends, and fellow actors.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely a devastating loss for sure.
Yeah. But on to happy things, their storyline for this episode. Megan is in Los Angeles and gets a FaceTime call from Mick. He wants to know how work is going, as well as Carter. Oh, Carter.
Oh my gosh.
I have some thoughts about Carter. I think it's in this episode. I'm pretty
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, please share them because I have thoughts too.
Oh, we will get to that in a few minutes.
Yeah.
He also apologizes for sounding jealous about Carter and talks about his addiction. He claims he's doing much better and the I love yous. Although I don't think he's doing much better because as soon as he gets off the phone, he curls up in bed and just cries.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because my mom, she actually was an addiction counselor. And so when she was watching this episode, she's like, yeah, this is very real right now and very, it's very difficult to go through that and overcome it, especially when your loved ones aren't physically there and, going to, which Mick does later, going to the AA council sessions is a very difficult process. And she was very moved by the whole, addiction storyline because that was her kind of what she did for a living, helping people for a while. So yeah, she was very touched by that storyline.
That's amazing that she could do that.
For sure. Yeah. I very much admire her for that. And she just thought his performance in that particular storyline was phenomenal.
It was. He did a great job. And I remember thinking, especially in, I think it was the previous episode 4. When Gregory's character Thomas comes back and they all have that intervention. I was thinking they're really going there and they're doing a great job.
Oh yeah. No, I was like, is this Hallmark? Like, doesn't feel like Hallmark right now, but yeah, no, they did a phenomenal job portraying that. Yeah, it was the realism was very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And getting off track just a little for a second, I kind of wanted to see more of Thomas.
Yes, me too.
In this season, because being a postable, I love Gregory Harrison.
Exactly. Yes. And as someone who's watched, every episode of Chesapeake Shores multiple times, I'm like, I want to see more of Thomas. Thomas fits in perfectly with this storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially when they tied it back to he and Mick's dad and how their dad was an addict as well. I was like, okay, we're gonna explore that a bit more. And I know they ran out of time with the season, but I would have loved to see more of that. I think that would have been a nice, bookend moment. If that makes sense. Yeah.
It would have been great to see him in a couple more episodes. He did a great job as Thomas.
He did. As always, yes.
Yes. And I met him at Rama Drama. Such a kind human being.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, he seems wonderful.
Yes. Going back to Mick and Megan. Mick has been coming to support group meetings for his addiction every day and meets Ralph. Now, we did briefly just talk about him attending the meetings. He mentions he's thinking about sharing in the future and believes he's not actually an addict because he caught it in time. Ralph says it's denial. I agree with that.
Yeah. One of the key like signs of addiction is the denial.
Yeah.
And I thought, like Mick is in like this weird place where he was on the medicine for such a short time that it would be easy for him to say, oh yeah, I wasn't. It was just like a brush with addiction. But the truth is that he is hooked. And you see that later in this episode.
In the next scene with him. Yeah.
Next scene, he's still hooked and he's still in denial. The only way you're able to begin your healing in addiction is to admit that there's a problem.
Yep.
And is to admit that you were addicted. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. that's the like first step in recovery, is admitting there's a problem.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, you could tell they definitely, put a lot into the storyline of making it accurate.
They did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mick is at his office contemplating about the painkillers and the FaceTime call with Megan during her lunch break. He mentions how he's doing and the fortune-telling machine. And I think this is when he pulls out his own fortune, which is, of course, the same as everyone else's.
Right. Yeah.
And here we go with Carter.
Oh my gosh.
Megan has a conversation with him and defends her relationship with Mick. I don't even remember what Carter said, but he crossed the line.
Mm-hmm. He basically said, like, your husband or ex-husband is a drug addict.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be with him. Like,
yeah, do you think he's really going to change? I think is something along the lines of what he said.
Yeah. And I love what she said in response, because it's so true. She's like, he was literally in an accident, in a plane crash, and it was the painkillers that he got addicted to. It was not like he was, seeking out the addiction. It was literally, he was in this horrible circumstance where he almost died.
Yeah.
And this is the aftermath of that. Like, I loved the way she explained it.
I did
because
too,
because Carter literally is just like, blanket statement, he's a drug addict. Like, that is so insensitive. And I have thoughts about Carter. Yeah, he's very, very slippery, slimy character.
A snake.
Yeah, I've thought that since season 5. I was never a fan. Yeah.
I love how she tells him off. I don't have the line written down, but she's like, get out of my office right now.
Oh, yeah. She put down good boundaries. Because normally, a lot of TV shows I've seen is like, they don't put down the boundaries. They're like, oh no, he's just looking out for me or whatever. She's like, no, absolutely not. Yeah. Maybe the Megan of a few years ago may have, not put down those boundaries right away, but the Megan of season 6 is like, no, absolutely not. Yeah, and I loved that. I thought that was a really great scene.
Yeah.
And I almost wish we had gotten some follow-up on Carter. Like, kind of just like, what happened, like, did she just leave right away? Like, what happened in that, like, time period where she was still in San Francisco? And like I said, I know they ran out of time in the season, and I definitely feel like they would have shown more of what happened there, but I feel like he could have been a very viable villain figure.
Yeah. He's a great actor, though.
He is. He's phenomenal.
And I don't know if it's him or another guy, but he reminds me a lot of the guy that played Ryan and Sharpay's dad in High School Musical.
Yes, you're right.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is the same person, but I could be wrong. I would have to go on IMDb and look at the actor's name.
I'm going to look this up later for sure.
But he does remind me a lot of that actor. If
You're
it's
so
not the
right.
Same one.
Yeah, no, you are so right. That is a really good comparison. If it's not him, I'd be shocked, because you're right.
Like, they could be twins if they're not the same person.
It's so true. Yeah. We'll have to look this up later.
Yes. Of course, being a fan of the golden age of Disney Channel, I gotta bring that up.
Of course. Yes, of course. As you should. Everyone needs to know that. Yeah. I loved High School Musical.
Still love it to this day. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Me and my college roommate, we watched the entire trilogy like within days of each other. And she had never seen it before. I'm like, well, you got to watch it now. And we did. It was perfect.
I remember watching them as they came out, and then I got the DVDs.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I remember in high school, as they came out, I would be on a soccer team or a summer camp, and everyone around me would just be singing and talking about High School Musical.
Yep.
Nothing else. So yeah,
Yep.
I remember those days. Even if I hadn't seen it myself at that point, yeah, I totally remember.
I remember going to see High School Musical 3 the night it came out, or the day it came out.
Oh my gosh, that's commitment. Wow.
I went on premiere day, yeah.
Wow. See, if I could go back, I would have joined you because I love number 3 too.
I was in 9th grade. And funny story, we're getting so off track here for a second, but just can't help it. It was raining that day, I remember. And I think I was running late. Like, I was going to see it with a friend, and I was running late. I had gotten out of the car, and it was just me and my friend going. Like, my mom wasn't going.
Right.
And I was running on the sidewalk, and of course, with it raining, it was wet and slippery, and I literally fell on my butt.
Oh my gosh.
In front of I don't know how many people.
That is hilarious.
And I just got up. I was like, I'm okay.
Oh my gosh.
I guess I was just excited.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not be? It's High School Musical. That's so funny. Wow.
And I did go see High School Musical in concert when I was in 7th grade for the first one. The first movie.
You were committed.
But sure. Back to Chesapeake Shores.
Yeah. We're a little off track here talking about High School Musical.
Sorry, Chessies.
Well, we were talking about our favorite TV couple.
Yes.
So let's continue talking TV couples.
Yes. Yes. Megan, she calls Mick while he is at home to make sure he's okay. He mentions how hard it is and breaks down when he gets off the phone.
Oh.
And then we see him at the support group finally admitting that he's an addict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's a very powerful scene because, like I said before, the beginning of recovery is admitting you have a problem, and I think Mick realizing that he's not in control and that it's that hard just to make a decision not to do something. I think that's when he realizes that this is something that he's going to have to work through and not just something he could say, oh, I dodged a bullet. I'm fine. It's like, no, you are struggling with this because you're not completely in control right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I think that's the hard part for Mick, because Mick is very much someone who likes to have his life in control and have his, his world kind of in a certain place. Like, you see it a lot in earlier seasons when he's like in the business world and he's kind of, just always like in control. But in this moment, he's very, very vulnerable. And I think he realizes that. And that's what is especially hard for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's normally the strong one, so I think it's very hard for him to admit that to himself.
On to Kevin and Sarah. I think they're my favorite couple on the show.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yes. Kevin meets with Abby at Sally's Cafe. They briefly discuss how Mick is doing with the meetings. And Kevin starts stalling on sharing how he's feeling because of the promise he made. And Abby figures out that Sarah is pregnant. I mean, you can't hide that.
Yeah, you can only hide that for so long until everyone's gonna know. But I can understand their trepidation about not wanting to tell people, because I've had some experiences with that in my own direct family.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
it was one of my family members,
Mm.
and they were very careful the
Mm.
next time
Yeah.
around, and they didn't want to share right away. So I can completely understand
Yeah.
Sarah and Kevin in
Mm.
this situation, just
Mhm.
trying to keep it secret. But
Yeah.
the thing is, there's only so much time you can keep that secret.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, somebody's gonna find out eventually.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't think, of course, I've never experienced that because I've
Same,
never been
yeah.
in a relationship, but I don't think I've had any family experience it either. But I know that it must be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very much, there's a lot of you know, worry that goes into it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just very much a lot of worry, but once
Yeah.
those, like, first few
Mhm.
months are kind of out of the
Yeah.
way, like they are for Kevin and
Mhm.
Sarah, then
Yeah.
it starts to,
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
little more smooth sailing after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is exciting for
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Yes. I love this
Yeah.
little banter back and forth between Kevin and Abby. And
Mhm.
it's when he says, "How are things going with you, Abby?" "Fine." "Kevin, come on. I dropped that huge bombshell on you, and all you tell me is fine. How are things going with Evan?" "Fine." And then they start talking about how things are going with Evan, her
Mhm.
date, and the fortune. This is a great quote from Abby when she says, "Relationships take time to grow. You don't just go, boom, that's it." Kevin,
Mhm.
"I did with Sarah. Boom, definitely. Well, I'm not the boom type."
Yeah.
You never know. Sometimes the booms have a way of sneaking up on.
You never know. Yeah. I mean, I think Abby thinks she's not the boom type,
Yeah.
but I think with the right person, it's
Yes.
just,
Yep.
why wait? Why wait?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I love scenes between Abby and Kevin. I
Yes.
find them really, really sweet. And I
Yeah.
like all the sibling dynamics, and I love when they have
Me too. Yeah.
little scenes together, and especially the brothers and the sisters.
Yes. And if I
Yeah.
remember correctly, I think they are the two oldest of the
Yes.
siblings.
Yes.
So,
They are. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's nice to see them
Yeah.
kind of hashing things out a little bit
Yeah.
about their personal lives. And
Yes.
yeah, cuz that's the way it goes when
Yeah.
you're adults and
Mhm.
your siblings are adults.
Yep.
That's what happens. You just talk to
Yeah.
each other about all your problems.
Yeah. I always love that scene in the pilot movie between them before he goes back to war.
Yes.
You know which one
Mhm.
I'm talking about?
Oh
When
yeah,
they're
that's the
standing
one
by
I
the
had in
car?
mind.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's the exact one I had in mind when I
That's a
said I
good
like
scene.
seeing. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's a very good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a special bond,
Yes.
because I think both of them
Yeah.
remember the most about the
Mhm.
past, and so they've kind of bonded over that situation where they both
Mhm.
have a better understanding of it than the other kids, and because of that,
Yeah.
their relationship is special. So
Yes, it is.
yeah.
This was a nice scene with Kevin and Sarah at home. He
Mhm.
comes in and he immediately goes over to Sarah and gives her a hug.
Mhm.
And he starts talking about his last call of the day, which was an 80-year-old man who collapsed in the grocery store right in front of his wife of 58 years because of forgetting to take his insulin. He was
Mhm.
revived and will be fine, but his wife thought for sure he was gone.
Mhm. Yeah, that was a really sweet scene. I
Yeah.
loved that. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he talks about the way she held him when she knew he was okay.
Oh, so sweet.
Yes.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
And I think Kevin's very much like, he has very deep feelings about
Mhm.
things, and I think
Yeah.
something like that, like, it doesn't matter how long you're an EMT or
Mhm.
whatever, those kind of things they hit you hard at different
Mhm.
moments, especially
Yeah.
someone who has very deep feelings like
Yeah.
Kevin. So I
Yeah.
thought that was very sweet.
Yeah. I did chuckle at the banter between them about growing up together and Kevin going full beard when he retired.
Yeah.
And he's like, lumberjack.
Yeah. That's such a guy thing. That's such a guy thing, wanting to grow a beard, and yeah.
But then he backtracks to just a mustache when Sarah mentions not shaving her legs.
Oh my gosh. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a huge fan of
Yeah, that was a little awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, the lumberjack comment though was funny.
Yeah, the lumberjack comment was hilarious because that's classic.
Yes.
That was really funny.
Yeah. And the last we get of Kevin and Sarah in this episode is their walk and talk at the Seaside Festival and running into Bree and Jess. Sarah talking about her pregnancy cravings. Ice cream, saltwater taffy, and a lobster roll in that order.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's accurate. I will say, like, I have sisters who have, given birth, and yeah, those kind of pregnancy cravings are very accurate.
That's an interesting combination, but I'm sure it's good.
That's the way pregnancy cravings go. It's always weird combinations.
I mean, I love ice cream and I love lobster rolls. I don't think I've ever had saltwater taffy.
Saltwater taffy, it's basically the same as regular taffy. They just call it saltwater taffy because, whatever.
Yeah. Sarah shows Bree and Jess the fortune, which, of course, is the same one.
Right.
And that's when Bree goes over to Luke.
Yeah. I think that might be part of the reason why I felt annoyed with Bree, because it wasn't actually that she took a leap of faith and trusted him.
Yeah.
It was actually that she saw evidence that he didn't do it.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I was kind of like, why can't you just this would be a good lesson to learn to trust him,
Yes.
But but I will say, spoiler alert, she makes up for it in the end.
Yes, she does.
So, yeah. But anyway, I think that's what kind of put me over the edge. I'm like, oh, come on, Bree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like I said, it's so interesting to see all the different couples react differently to it. Like for some people, it's a huge existential crisis like Abby and Evan, and obviously Bree and Luke.
Yeah.
Whereas like with Mick and Megan, it's just like, oh, see the little fortune I got. It's just like a little thing. Or with Sarah and Kevin, it's like, oh, that's sweet. It's very interesting how it's like different.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Evan and Abby, let's just talk about them.
Yes.
For a little bit. And then, of course, we got to talk about Mandrake, because Mandrake.
Gotta talk about Mandrake.
Wesley
I'm going to just say, in my opinion.
Salter.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's all I got to say. He does an incredible job as Mandrake.
I'm going to make a really bold statement. I think Mandrake is one of, if not the best character on the entire show.
He's one of the best. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. Mic drop right there. Hope Wesley Salter's listening, because we love your character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Such a great job.
Fantastic. Yeah. My dad was actually talking about that last night too. He's like, I think the Mandrake character is like amazing.
Amazing, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, his character on When Calls the Heart is not so great, but
but he still does a phenomenal job of making us hate him.
But Wesley is still great.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
But anyway, Abby and Evan. Sorry, I sidetracked.
Okay. Evan and Mandrake's conversation about salad and trying new things. This scene.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I remember seeing it, and I was like, why haven't we had more Mandrake and Evan scenes? And then all of a sudden this happened, and I was like, yay! I was so happy because one thing I loved about season 5 was how many scenes they had together and like their banter back and forth. And I was kind of missing that until the salad scene. And I'm like, oh, great, they're back. Yeah, it was great.
I love how he says the origins of the traditional Cobb salad come from the Brown Derby in Hollywood, California in the year 1937. It was named after restaurant owner Robert Howard Cobb. He threw together a bunch of leftover ingredients late one evening, tossed the salad in French dressing, and the Cobb salad was born.
It's like, Evan, what are you doing reading Wikipedia?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So funny. And he's a real trip. I love Evan. He's so funny.
Yes. His reaction in inviting Mandrake to join him. And then Evan's pun. Excellent.
I was like, I know I should be cringing right now, but it's just so hilarious. It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
He tried.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they brought Robert Buckley in as Evan.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Best decision ever. I adore Robert Buckley now.
He's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think he was phenomenal. He totally won me over for sure.
I was originally Team J, but Robert Buckley.
Yeah. I thought Robert Buckley did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. Although I love Grayston Holt too. He's great.
Yeah. He is great.
Yes.
Has he played in like a Hallmark lead in any other movies?
I can't remember if he's played the lead, but I know for sure that he's been in some other Hallmark stuff. One being one of the Signs He'll Delivered episodes.
Oh, okay.
And actually, the episode he was in starred another cast member from Chesapeake Shores, Amelia Ullerup.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, it's so funny how sometimes like these like co-stars will be in movies together.
And they were love interest in that episode.
No way! Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone who has not watched the show and gotten to that episode yet.
I actually haven't watched that episode yet, so now I'm gonna go look it up.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah.
You should watch it.
Aw.
Back to Evan and Abby. They are at the Seaside Festival. Evan mentions how the thing he misses most about England is FaceTiming her and talking about the date. And Abby says, I don't need anything special. And Evan says, well, you're pretty special.
That was sweet. That was very sweet. Yeah. I guess my one critique of this scene would be when he said, I miss FaceTiming with you in England. I was kind of like, well, she's right here. You know?
I know.
It's kind of like, okay, Evan, maybe you're just, maybe you're a little rusty and out of practice.
Yeah. I mean, being together in person, it's a whole lot better than FaceTiming.
Yeah, I think he just he was just saying that.
He was trying to make her feel special. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Of course, me being me, of course I'm like, wait a minute, but of course it was meant to be very sweet. Yeah, and him saying she's special is so cute.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made me laugh when they see the fortune telling machine and Evan says, change is so mid-20th century.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. He's not wrong.
No.
Yeah.
I rarely use change unless
I
absolutely have to.
Yeah. No, a lot of people don't carry change anymore.
Yeah.
it's a lot of cards and Venmo and
Yeah.
Bitcoin.
Yep.
all of the new
Yes.
gadgets,
Yes.
Yeah.
The scene with Evan and Mandrake walking through town. All the arrangements have been made for the date with Abby. It is very elaborate, but Mandrake can't say how elaborate.
Oh my gosh, I remember seeing this scene and I'm pretty sure I laughed out loud as
Yeah.
they're like, what was it? The something about the choir, like
let's see.
the choir being blindfolded or something.
Oh, they decide to lose the twinkling lights, cut down the bouquets from 20 to 10, keep the string quartet, but without the blindfolds.
Yeah.
And get rid of the fireworks.
Yeah. I remember thinking, okay, yeah, I would probably cut back on some of those things too, but I thought it was hilarious because Evan's trying so hard, and it's like, no, you don't have to try.
It also made me laugh when he says, "Why do you always answer my question with a question?"
It's like, you know what? Yeah, that's what's been going on this whole time.
When Mandrake said it's a bit early for fireworks, when it's time for fireworks, you'll know it.
Yeah. I don't think we're talking about the fireworks here.
No.
Yeah. Gotta love Mandrake.
Oh my goodness.
He's priceless. Yeah.
Hallmark After Dark.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I was gonna say. You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Who knows? They could eventually start a Hallmark After Dark channel.
Oh my gosh.
I doubt it'll ever happen, but you never know.
Probably not, but you never know.
Oh my goodness. The date. What did you think about that date?
I thought that it was a little bit awkward, but like in a very like realistic way. Like when you're on I've never been on a date, but everyone who tells me like when you're on like the first date, like as in like the first like real date, it's a little bit awkward because maybe you were friends first and then now you're in like this formal setting, and then it's kind of like, oh, do we have to act different? Do we have to like be different? And I thought that was like really well played. I remember there was some line in this scene, I can't quite remember, but there was something I think Abby said that I was like, oh yeah, like it really stuck out to me. Maybe you have it right there.
I might have it. She says how she's not ready to be someone's girlfriend again, and Evan says, "You don't have to be, just be you. I'll be me."
Yeah. That was the one. Yeah, cuz I remember thinking to myself like I really enjoy Abby and Trace's relationship, but it was very hard on her because she was like a girlfriend of like this pop star, and a lot of times she was in like the public eye as being that, and I think she's at a point in her life where she just kind of wants to do her thing and be her own person. And I really loved how like they actually talked about that. And Evan is like, yeah. And Evan's very much like, yeah, no, you be you, I'll be me. And that's a healthy relationship.
The ship names. Abvan Evby.
Oh my gosh.
There's some ship names that just don't work.
Yeah. There are some TV couples or real life couples where I'm just like, yeah, we're just gonna skip the ship names. There's nothing quite that works.
Yeah, I don't think it works with these two either way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Just Abby and Evan.
Yeah. I've never called them a ship name. I know some people call some of the other couples ship names, but it's Abby and Evan for me. Yeah.
Sometimes I'll call Shane and Oliver Sholiver.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Just like I'm trying to think of another like
or
ship name.
Norman and Norita.
Oh, that's cute. I've never
Yeah.
heard that one before. Yeah, that's cute.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of like a classic ship name. Even from like High School Musical or
oh gosh,
one of those.
I think Troy and Gabriella's was Troyella.
Oh, don't know how I like that one. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'll think of one while we're going. But yeah, some couples they don't need a ship name. And I think Abby and Evan are one of those couples.
Chad and Taylor from High School Musical. Theirs would be
Challer
Taylor or Tad.
Oh no, I don't know which one's worse. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. There are some good ones out there. There's some really bad ones, but some good ones. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Back to Evan and Abby again. I love when Evan says, "Why can't we just be two separate people together without all the elaborate dates and events and romantic stuff that can be forced?"
Yeah, I appreciate that because some people they're just not into that, especially when they've been in as many relationships as Abby has, because she's had a failed marriage, she's had the whole Trace thing. I don't think that's what she's looking for anymore. I think she's just looking for somebody to share her life with, and it doesn't have to be all the crazy things that Evan wants to do, but obviously he probably doesn't need that either. So I think it was a good conversation for them to have.
I think so too.
Yeah. So
their last scene in this episode, the conversation and dance at the Seaside Festival. The kisses were really sweet. And then Abby admits she likes romance and twinkly lights. Evan feels the same. Now it's time for fireworks.
Yeah. In both senses of the word, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think I liked that because it wasn't just them him doing something crazy and her saying, "Oh, I love this." It was them having a moment that wasn't planned.
Yeah.
And her saying, "I like this." It was very, it was very, very good. And I really liked that. And I thought it worked well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice to see Abby actually embracing the romance again.
Yeah. I agree.
It's really nice. I think she's in a really, really healthy place in this season. And I think this relationship with Evan is a really
great.
Really good for her. So yeah, sorry, my psychology side is coming out. I'm like, oh, this and this.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we all knew this was gonna happen because this is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On to Connor and Margaret. One of my favorite moments with them in this episode is when they are playing foosball and talking about the lunch with her parents.
Oh, yeah. Remind me, did they have lunch with her parents in this episode or the last one?
I think so. Yes, they did.
Okay. Because I remember, have they not done it yet at this point?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it. I'm not the biggest fan of Margaret and Connor, but I do like this episode for them because I really like how it's she's kind of worried about him meeting her family, and he's just like, I'm gonna be myself, and he is himself. And I love that, but we'll get to that eventually. I do like this episode for them. For sure.
Yeah. I like Connor and Margaret.
Yeah, I feel terrible saying that. Yeah, I feel terrible saying that. I think it's because, do you remember when he was dating that other one, Danielle?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so the thing is that I liked them together, and I feel like it would have been a really good storyline for her to actually work through her family issues to be with him. But I think
can
it
see
was
that. Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah, I just feel like there was some missed potential there. But I'm not saying I don't dislike Margaret, because I really like Margaret too.
Yes.
It's just, I think for me in my head, it's like, oh, Connor and Danielle, but
and love Marisa. She's great as Margaret.
Yes, she is.
I do have to mention before we go on to the next scene, the little banter between them when Connor says, "Are you from Tennessee Williams land?" And Margaret says, "Close, Silver Spring, Maryland." And Connor says, "Oh, well, I do declare."
That's the most Connor thing ever to say.
Yep. Yeah. In that accent that I cannot.
He's always like wearing wigs or doing accents or impersonating someone. It's so Connor. That's like so Connor.
Lunch at the Kellers and Connor meeting the family. That was awkward.
It was awkward. But I have to say, like, I would have loved to see more of Margaret's family, because literally they're so like, they're such a like real family. Like, her brothers, they're my brothers. Like, I was watching it, I'm like, this is what my brothers would do. This is exactly what they would do. And I would have loved to see more of them. I know they probably ran out of time, but I think it would have been hilarious.
Yeah. Nick, Margaret's father, wants to know why he left the big firm. And we get a cameo from Karen Holness as Margaret's mother. Love Karen. She is great.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they cast her as Margaret's mother.
I love that.
Yeah. Connor telling the lawyer joke. I don't have it written down, but that was hilarious.
It was really funny. And I really, like, I know they were trying to make it like kind of awkward, and then like he gets accepted eventually. But I really liked this scene because it's so funny.
But
at the same time,
silence.
I know, it's like, yeah, it's just so funny.
And then Nick laughs. And then everyone else laughs.
I know, it's so funny, and I thought it was hilarious. But also, I really liked that it really showed that kind of like, that like spunk that Connor has. Like, Connor has this like, he's very like his own guy, and very like, says what he feels, and it's just, he's very comfortable in his own skin. And that's why I loved this scene, because he's very comfortable in his own skin with a bunch of people that he doesn't know super well.
Yeah.
And he's just very, very confident, very self-assured. Like, he's always been like that. And I just loved how this scene kind of gave us a little, little callback to that. And I really liked that.
Being offered the homemade muffin, that was good.
Yes. And also, I felt like that was a little bit of a nod to his grandmother,
Gran,
who isn't in this season, but kind of their thing was, or Gran's thing was, baked muffins. And we all know that Gran would have like been there through thick and thin with Connor, with his heart attack, with his relationship, with everything. So I just thought that was like a really nice, like, little itty bitty like Easter egg in there. I was like, oh, Gran.
I feel the same.
Missing Gran. I like that though.
We missed Gran this season.
We did. She was very missed.
Connor and Margaret after the lunch with her family. Connor passed the test and her family approved, but it wasn't unanimous. Her Gran doesn't like that he's an Orioles fan and not a Nationals fan.
Oh my god.
Oh, those baseball rivalries.
Mm-hmm. Nothing you could do to get around that.
Nope. What baseball team do you like if you watch baseball?
You know what? I don't,
You don't?
but my dad, he likes the Mets, so
The Mets.
I guess we'll just go with them.
Go with the Mets.
Yeah.
I'd have to say the Braves.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
But the Mets are a great team too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. See, I wouldn't know. I don't know at all. Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
not one of those people that are like, well, if you don't like this team, we can't be friends.
Yeah. See,
I mean,
I'm just not that way with sports at all, really. So, yeah.
I've always loved baseball. I've always enjoyed
Mhm.
watching it.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. Baseball is a fun
Yeah.
sport. Both
Yeah.
of my parents played back in high school,
Yeah.
so they love it too.
Yeah. But on to David and Jess. They didn't have a lot in this episode,
Yeah.
but I think the moments that they did have were great.
It's funny because like they weren't in this season a whole lot. Not as much as I would have liked because
Yeah.
they're my favorite couple, and David is one of my favorite characters in the entire
Love
series.
David, yeah.
I adore David, and
Yep.
I adore Carlo Marx. So
Yes.
you know, let's just say I liked Carlo Marx before he was cool. Because now I feel like everyone's like starting to you know, really, really like him, and he's in a lot more movies now, and I liked him before he was cool.
Yeah. Actually,
but yeah, go ahead.
Now that I'm thinking of it, I don't think David was in this episode, but Jess was.
Okay. Was it Jess going over the vineyard stuff?
I think the storyline with Jess was mainly focused on David's dad.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Who still hasn't called
right
his son or family.
And
then everything else was about the fortune telling machine.
Right. I think as a whole, I kind of wanted more like focus on the storyline with David and his family.
Yeah.
Just overall in general, not just in this episode, but I really felt like it could have been a really big thing. And what I mean by that is like you see that David's family is not great. Like you know that from past seasons. You just know that, and I feel like it would have been this like all-encompassing arc if that turned out to like be true, not just for him but for everyone involved. And I kind of wish, because I don't even know, did it even get resolved in the end?
Did it?
I don't think it did. No,
I don't think it really fully got resolved. No,
I don't think it did, because I knew they were gonna like somehow make his dad good. Because this is Hallmark. But I would have actually found it very interesting if it was actually true that his dad was guilty of all of these things. So part of me is glad that it didn't actually get wrapped up, because in my mind I can kind of think like, oh, he was actually guilty. But you know, like I thought it was a good storyline for Carlo Marx to really flex his acting muscles, which I loved that for him.
Yes.
Did it feel a little bit out of character for David? Maybe slightly, but I was okay with it.
I think he had some great moments in the next episode, which we'll talk about very soon.
Yes. And yeah, I agree. He has some great moments coming up. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And a little bit of Carrie and Caitlin before we wrap up with episode 5. Caitlin runs into Bree and Jess at the Seaside Festival, and we meet her friend Sloane. And I love how Sloane calls Bree the cool aunt and Jess the wacky aunt.
Yes.
And that was the only scene we got with Carrie and or Caitlin in this episode.
Yeah. I have to say, I was expecting something different with Caitlin and Sloane. Or which sister was the one who was friends with Sloane? Was it Caitlin? Okay. I was expecting a different outcome, and we'll get to the outcome later.
Yeah.
But I was actually very impressed with this storyline. I loved it, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I felt like the build up to it was very good too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah. But also the reference to the wacky aunt and the cool aunt.
Yeah.
I have a lot of sisters and a niece, and I imagine that when she's of age, she'll start defining which ones we are.
Yes.
I don't know if I'll qualify as the cool aunt, but I don't think I'll also qualify as the wacky aunt. So maybe there's some aunt like title in between that I can claim.
Yeah. I think you'd be the cool aunt.
Oh, thanks. My younger sister is much cooler than me, so she'll probably be the cool aunt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think this wraps up episode 5.
Yeah. A lot going on in this episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot going on.
Yeah.
For sure. But there's always a lot going on in Chesapeake Shores.
Yes. There's always a lot going on the shore.
Yeah. For sure.
That's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Well, this was so much fun. Thank you, Theresa, for joining me for this episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, and we cannot wait to have you back very, very soon for season 6, episode 6.
Looking forward to it.
All right, Chessies. I think that wraps up our review of season 6, episode 5. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you have a great day or night wherever you are in the world, and we will see you next time. We love y'all. Bye.
Bye.